They're going to try to divide you, just like they divided us with the Lakers. Me and Kobe, we had a great thing going, but the media divided our team. We could have won 5 more championships. Stay strong. Don't let the media divide you. Don't let social media divide you. Fascinating words from such an interesting person. Let's talk about it here. Jalen is with us for the first time this morning. Hello, Jay, plus Jay Williams and Booger. But Jalen, I'll come to you first. This is going to be a time in all sports where so many players who've not been together are going to, at some point soon, start coming back together again. For example, in the NBA, they will reasonably soon, and there will be a time to talk through all the things that have happened in our country over the last few weeks. And Drew Brees, of course, is just the most famous example of that. What will those be like in those locker rooms where not everyone necessarily views things the same way?
I'm glad you're asking me this question, Greedy, because I've been a voice that have come on this show repeatedly and said to people that I don't like the analogy of comparing race relations to a sports locker room. And then Drew Brees makes these comments. And the reason why I don't like that comparison is when you're on a team, you have a vested interest in the guy next to you. If he starts to throw interceptions and he seems mentally challenged by this disruption, then people are going to be like, put in Jameis, put in Taysom Hill. But they're not going to forget what he said. But it is okay to forgive his apology.
What do you think, Booger, as far as the notion of a locker room being divided by issues like these?
Well, I think the locker room can become divided, Green, especially if you don't have conversation. I think when you look at this Drew Brees incident and everything that's happened, he's taken the first step. Yeah, he's talking to his teammates. They've had a meeting, and they've kind of aired their dirty laundry, so to speak, after we saw it publicly. Now what has to happen is you have to come back with some actual works. I need to see you do things day after day after day. And, Jalen, I think what you're mentioning is motivation. There's motivation because you have a vested interest to get along and to come together. But I think, guys, this is a bigger picture. I think the motivation, as we've discussed all morning on this program, is just doing what's right. It's just being able to do the right thing. And Drew Brees has to change something inside of him, and he acknowledged that. And I think if he'll do that, I don't know if he'll necessarily – his play will dictate that, because Drew's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't think anything that he does on the field this season is going to change that. And so I think what has to change is the day-to-day life, the day-to-day activity, the day-to-day interaction that they have in the locker room. That has to change. And if so, the locker room has always been a great place for that because of the motivation of winning and coming together to win inside the locker room.
Jay, Will, we know that there are going to be players who are going to come together here, people in every walk of life, and let's just use players because that's what we talk about, who don't all view this the same way. And this is an issue that is so intensely personal for people. Do you anticipate that might cause problems?
I do on the surface level to a degree. I think this is going to be an ongoing work in progress for this team. I do think, I do want to shift the narrative for 1 second, Greeny, because I think what we saw here was something extremely powerful, and we need to give credence to this to talk about how we move forward. People make mistakes in life. People misspeak. There are times that people have had, ways of thinking that they've had to been pushed to different thresholds to think differently. And I want to start pushing this narrative now about Drew Brees that we're watching a person evolve. And that's okay. That's what we all should thrive to do. We all should thrive to be a better version of ourselves. And we watched it happen in real time for Drew Brees. And I think as long as he continues to make those steps to show that he has evolved as a person, his past history has dictated that to me. I don't characterize his entire life off this one incident. I think it was a growth opportunity for him and this team. If they can use it to come together, because they all know the true character of Drew Brees, then I think that's a great lesson for our country to take, for a lot of people that may have thought one way, that maybe have been pushed to different limits now to think another way. And what I'm saying to a lot of people that are in this fight, we need as many people as we can get to continue to expand their bandwidth of how they see the world. And if this is something that had to happen in real time that gave us this lesson, then thank you, Drew Brees, for bringing us and keeping us aware of how we can evolve as people.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.